Hey there, welcome to C&T Collectibles. I'm C. Hope you're doing well. All right, we're going to look at some center fielders today in the Hall of Fame Tracker series. This is what I use in the off season to kind of do my homework and figure out where I'm going to put my money. So I like to buy a lot of junk too, but if I'm going to put decent money into a player, then I want to make sure they're going to have some sort of long-term relevance. And so this is how I do it, and I'm pleased to share my research with you today. 24 center fielders in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. The average Fangraphs WAR is 75. Baseball Reference WAR of all Hall of Famers is 71. So fairly close. So there's some wiggle room here. Highest Fangraphs WAR, 149. Willie Mays, class of 79. Ty Cobb's right there with him as well. Most hits, 4189. Ty Cobb. Most home runs, Willie Mays, 663,000 hit club. Cobb, Speaker, and Mays. This gets a little bit tricky here because Tris Speaker had about 130 wins above replacement. Cobb and Mays were sitting at about 150. And we know if they played today, they'd be awesome, but replacement level player is much better than it was. And so it does skew the numbers somewhat. So we're going to keep that in mind as we go forward. If you just took, I would never mess with Willie Mays, probably the greatest player of all time. But Cobb and Speaker, if you adjusted them downwards more to like a Mike Trout level, 85 wins above replacement, you're still looking at 71 wins above replacement for all Hall of Famers on a Fangraphs WAR basis. So we're just going to stick with the average, see if they can get to 70 wins by about age 35 or so, and it's really more about the awards. If you look at who's in. These were kind of generational type players, so if you are going to collect a center fielder, better make sure they're really, really good. 500 home run club, Mays, Griffey, Mantle. So Mantle had about 110, 112 WAR as well, so no slouch there, but a lot of these guys kind of tail off a little bit into their 30s. Andrew Jones on the ballot this year is probably getting in. Last year was his 6th year on the ballot, and he got 61% of the vote. You get to that level, you're getting in at some point, so we'll see if he can ring the register this year. He's tracking pretty well, around 77 or 78% on ballots that have returned so far. Carlos Beltran, 9 All-Star games, terrific player, but I think he would have been more of a no-brainer if it wasn't for something that happened almost a decade ago. But if he gets in, that's going to bode well for a lot of the current Astros as well. So he's going to have some relevance, some repercussions, some reverberations, whatever you want to call it, going forward here. So this will be his 3rd year on the ballot, and he's trending upwards as well, getting up to 57. So again, he'll probably make it in the next few years. Torrey Hunter going the wrong direction here. He's been on the ballot for 4 years, got as high as 9%, and he's starting to tick back a little bit. So one of my favorite players, 9 Gold Gloves. Just didn't do it long enough. Curtis Granderson, Adam Jones, new to the ballot this year, and they sure had some nice seasons. But again, you got to have a lot of nice seasons there. So average Hall of Famer by age, they start to peak around age 24, maintain that into their early 30s, and then kind of drop off a cliff. When you get to that 35, you've really accumulated what you're going to accumulate. You saw this in Andrew Jones. You're seeing it in Mike Trout. Griffey was even largely done at age 31. So we're being a little bit generous saying, can you get to 70 wins by age 35? You probably need to actually have that by 31 or 32 in all likelihood, unless you can age really, really well. So again, just to kind of keep in the back of the mind, this is more of an art than a science here. So some notables that are off the track. Lou Bob, 26 years old, 12 wins above replacement. The average Hall of Famer at age 26 has close to 29 wins above replacement. And so he needs to average 6.4 wins on an annual basis, and that's not something he's done. And so it's hard to ask him to average that to get to that 70 wins above replacement by 35. Jazz Chisholm, Dalton Varsho, Tommy Edwin, Byron Buxton. Again, just some bigger names that have been around for a little bit. They put up a decent wins above replacement, but they're a little too far off the path. So again, not saying don't collect them. I sure like to get some nice Byron Buxtons here and there, but I'm just not going to buy it during a hot streak. So he has those from time to time. On deck, Jackson Merrill, Jason Dominguez, a lot of young guys, largely here because of their age. So you got to come up early and you have to produce. So they've got the early part down. Let's see if they can start producing. Jackson Merrill did that this year. So he's on one of the better paths to get to that 70 by 35. Jason Dominguez, he's got a lot of hype around him, but hasn't really done it yet. Pete Armstrong, Yohan Rojas. A lot of these players are defensive minded. That doesn't age terribly well. We got to see some offense to go along with it. So even though they may be interesting around the track, be mindful of how they're getting their wins above replacement. So get into some more higher level targets, and we'll start off with Michael Harris II. Didn't play a whole lot this year. When he came back, the metrics looked all right, except he had a pretty elevated infield fly ball rate, which just to me that's largely a timing issue. So a little bit of a lost season. So we would expect him to come back next year and start playing at a high level again. We'll see how that goes though. But 10 Fangraphs WAR, 11 Baseball Reference WAR. He's average under 5 wins on an annual basis to get to that 70 by 35. So he can certainly do that. 387 hits. Had a little added a one in there. 53 home runs and 117 weighted runs created, Rookie of the Year. So he's got a little bit of hardware. Yeah, you only have one chance to get that one. So he'll need to start to producing again at that 5 or 6 win level. Throw up a couple MVP type seasons and start making some All-Star games. But he's young and he's shown the capability at least. Corbin Carroll tracking pretty well here. So he had a rough first half. He was hurt, but he sure came around and got right back on track back half of the season. 10 wins, roughly. Fangraphs Baseball Reference WAR is right in there. So he needs to average under 5 on an annual basis to get that 70 by 35. Showing he can do that. 324 hits, 120 weighted runs created. So the bat is there, the defense is there. Rookie of the Year and an All-Star game. So he's young, but he is producing. All right, Julio Rodriguez, a couple of monster years to start. Last year took a little bit of a step back as barrel rate was down, his exit velocity was down just a bit here, and he was putting a lot of balls in the opposite field. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but a lot of good hitters can do that. He was still very productive, but we would like to see him back at that all-star borderline elite player level again. So 15 Fangraphs WAR, Baseball Reference WAR, roughly the same. 3.72 wins on an annual basis to get to that 70 by 35. More importantly, again, the wins above replacement is important, but a lot of the guys that are especially getting in recently just have a slew of all-star games and gold gloves. And he's got being in the rig 3 years, and he's been in the all-star game twice and been in the top 5 of MVP, a couple of Silver Sluggers. He's putting up the hardware to go along with it. So I think you just need to find a combination of both. All right, Aaron Judge. If you're gonna come up late, do this. Start putting up 2 years in one. Start having those 10, 11 win seasons. It's just insane. Okay, admittedly, he's more of a right fielder. He's played more games there, but he was in center this year. We're gonna throw him in center, and let's just see how he stacks up against the best. Left field and right field are a little lower bars to cross over, so let's just throw him up there and see what he can do. And gosh, he's showing he's up to the challenge here. So 51 wins above replacement, Fangraphs Baseball Reference WAR, needs to average over 60 at that 7 by 35. I don't think that matters a whole lot. The hard part here is going to be in the hits department. So we've looked at this before. And players, there hasn't been a player since 1960 that's gotten into the Hall of Fame with fewer than 2,000 hits, and so he's sitting at, there we go. Yeah, so he's sitting at roughly halfway. Oh, geez. I mean, I'd say spoilers, but really, are you surprised at our number one guy or anything like that? He's halfway to the 2,000 hits, so it'll be interesting. Chase Utley's on the ballot, and he's shy of that number, just barely shy. But if he gets in, then does that open the door to a lot of these other guys? Again, it's gonna be really hard to keep Aaron Judge out. But there's a lot of players that have 2 MVPs that, or not a lot, but there's a few of them at least. Maris and Dale Murphy come to mind that aren't in that aren't in. Pretty sure it's Maris, right? Anyways, Dale Murphy for sure, but that aren't in with that, and so we'll see if that holds him back. He's, again, the way he's producing at age 32, he probably comes up short of that 2,000 hits, but he's sure going to make a run at it. And if he puts up one more of these, I don't know how you keep him out here. Jaws been around long enough to start looking at that one. He's right in line with the Hall of Famer. So a couple more years of this steep trajectory, and again, I think if something were to happen to him now. You can never, somebody who was injured, unfortunately, couldn't play anymore. They would make some sort of exemption. Otherwise, he would, just a couple more years of just being highly productive, would get the deal. Now, he's going to have to do a couple more years because he's sitting at 8 years of service time. You need 10 to get in. So, again, I think that he's in, but there's going to be a couple more years to pad this is going to be necessary. So again, just because of service time, he's going to have to play a couple more years. All right, number 1, here you go, Mike Trout, 32 years old, 50 Fangraphs WAR, 50 Baseball Reference WAR. That's a monster number there, just really kind of smoking the average Hall of Famer. This is measured out at 60. Doesn't matter. Put him at 70, put him at 80. Doesn't matter. He's beating all those trajectories there. So older chart, but doesn't matter. So 70 by 35, whatever. He's got that 1,600 hits. Again, I would expect him to get that 2,000 number. Don't think it's going to matter with him. So 378 home runs, 3 MVPs, 9 top. If he wasn't an MVP, he was basically 1 or 2 for like 9 years. Rookie of the Year, 11 All-Star games, 9 Silver Sluggers. Jaws 75, average Hall of Famers 58. So kind of your no-brainer. Let's see how he, the aging isn't going that well. But again, when you see like the Griffeys in the Andrew Jones and a lot of those guys, it's kind of the same trajectory where they're really, really awesome until age 30, 31. And then that's kind of it there. So, all right, that's what I got for you in center fielders. Hope you enjoyed. And we'll get back and wrap this up with some right fielders in the very near future. Thanks for watching. Bye.